At the moment when the earthquake happened, Leo left while protecting his new lover. And I was trapped in the ruins for 3 days. After being rescued, I filed for divorce as he wished. Leo's eyes were bloodshot, and blood seeped from his hands wrapped in bandages. He pleaded with me in a mournful voice not to divorce him. He remembered that I was the rose he had carefully cultivated. But I didn't love him anymore. At the moment when the earthquake occurred, I was suspended in the air by a wire 5 meters high. The crew members fled in a panic. Only I and Scarlett, who had sprained her ankle, were left on the set. My husband Leo rushed over, but not to save me. He hurriedly picked up Scarlett, and Scarlett nestled in his arms, crying. Leo gently comforted her. It was a tenderness that I hadn't seen from him in 3 years. At this moment, I had to believe that he had changed his heart and fallen in love with someone else. Leo, I called him with red eyes. He paused for a moment but then quickly left. Leo, I called him again, unwilling to give up. I didn't believe that he couldn't hear me, but he didn't look back and just kept walking away. Scarlett curled her lips into a smile, mocking my misery. I couldn't hold back my tears anymore. When Leo was 18, he personally promised that his embrace was mine and that he belonged only to me. At this moment, I had to believe that he had changed his heart and fallen in love with someone else. Leo, I called him with red eyes. He paused for a moment but then quickly left. I would never love Leo again. All my love for him was completely worn away at the moment of life and death. Before losing consciousness, I heard Leo's urgent shout, Arya. He sounded so anxious, as if he had become the Leo who loved me again. But I knew that my Leo had changed completely 3 years ago. After the car accident and losing his memory, he was like a completely different person. He used to be as blazing as the sun, lighting up my life. I was self-abased and timid, and he would touch my head and encourage me. Arya is the smartest and bravest girl. I was irritable and slightly mentally unstable. When I was nervous, I would bite my lips. Leo stretched out his hand and let me bite him. His hand was bleeding, but he still smiled and comforted me. Arya, don't be afraid. The first time I danced on stage, I was so nervous that I made mistakes in the rhythm. He waved the fluorescent stick to encourage me. But later, he was also the one who hurt me the most. Before the wedding, I begged him to accompany me to try on the wedding dress. He made an excuse that he was busy but went into the same hotel with Scarlett. At the wedding, Scarlett called him away with just one phone call. I begged him not to go. He pried my hands open and said coldly, Scarlett needs me. For the role that I had obtained through hard interviews, he didn't hesitate to give it to Scarlett. In the 3 years of our marriage, I could count on my fingers the number of times I saw him. When he called to say that he was coming home, I happily prepared a table of dishes. But he questioned me why I was targeting Scarlett and knocked over the carefully prepared meal. I had long wanted to stop loving him. Loving him was so tiring. But the former Leo was so nice that I couldn't bear to let him go. This time, no matter how reluctant I was, I had to let him go. I felt so cold. There was excruciating pain all over my body, especially in my waist and abdomen. It was pitch dark all around. I had been so afraid of the dark, but this time I wasn't. A year ago, Scarlett was locked in a cold storage. Leo was convinced that I had harmed Scarlett and locked me in the warehouse for 10 hours. I pounded on the door, begging him to let me out. I was afraid of the dark. Leo remained unmoved and turned off all the lights, allowing the darkness to swallow me up. I sat in the corner, listening to the squeaking of mice. They scurried past my feet. The fear that had haunted me for 24 years collapsed on that day. When we were filming, Scarlett deliberately fell into the pool. Without a word, Leo kicked me into the pool. In November, he made me soak in the pool for a whole hour. The director and the producer didn't dare to oppose Leo, so I endured it in the pool for an hour. I was seriously ill and felt dizzy. Leo felt sorry for Scarlett and forced me to continue filming. After taking cold medicine, I was listless. When I was riding a horse, I fell off and ended up with a permanent waist injury. That day, Scarlett's horse was startled by me. Leo only saw that Scarlett was injured. He hurriedly left with Scarlett in his arms and didn't even look at me. his wife. I was hospitalized due to the waist injury. Leo rarely came to visit me. But when he did, he frowned and pursed his lips. Arya, let's get divorced. He had forgotten the bright eyes when he begged me to marry him when we grew up. He had forgotten the coquettishness like a Pekingese when he pestered me to agree. He had forgotten the joy when he hugged me and spun me around in circles when I agreed. Clearly, he used to love me so much. Just because of a car accident and the so-called memory loss, the young man I knew had completely changed. What could I do? Could I lose my temper with him? The truck that hit him was originally coming for me. At the critical moment, Leo pushed me away. He flew through the air in an arc, and then the truck ran over his body brutally. That day, the dazzling red burned my eyes and pierced my heart. I had never seen so much blood. He stayed in the ICU for 3 whole days and only woke up after 3 months in the general ward. Why? I had bandages wrapped around my waist, and my heart ached unbearably. I couldn't bear to see his indifference and coldness. You always say that I like you, Leo said with a gloomy face. But if I really loved you, would I be willing to treat you like this? Memory loss doesn't mean losing intelligence. I really don't have feelings for you. Only when I'm with Scarlett can I have different emotions. Arya, divorce is good for both of us. It will save us from torturing each other. My tears fell silently. I turned my face away and didn't agree to the divorce. Leo smashed the vase in front of me. You're just asking for trouble. To make me divorce and make room for Scarlett, he really tried every means. In the end, this love was completely distorted. I didn't know whether what I was holding on to was love or just a promise. Arya must be my wife. At the wrap-up banquet, I drank some wine and was in a trance. The male actor in the same crew helped me up. Just as his lips were about to touch mine, someone pulled him away and beat him half to death. I looked up and saw that it was Leo who had done it. Scarlett was stunned beside him. Leo noticed that something was wrong with me and held me up as I was on the verge of falling. This was the first time he had taken the initiative to touch me since losing his memory. My heart felt so bitter. Scarlett called him, and Leo told her to leave on her own. After Leo and I got home, he pinched my chin. Do you like flirting with others so much? I looked into the coldness in his eyes, and my heart sank to the bottom. I was about to explain when I saw his empty wrist. I asked him awkwardly, where are the Buddhist beads? Thrown away, he replied casually. Just a broken bead. It's so ugly. My lips trembled, and I looked at him in disbelief. That string of Buddhist beads was what I got by bowing down step by step when he was seriously ill at the age of 18. There were 3,000 steps, and my legs were almost crippled in the end. That time, when he got the beads, he begged me with red eyes never to do such stupid things again. He wore the beads for 4 years and never took them off day or night. 3 years ago, after the car accident, the beads were smashed to pieces. I threaded them one by one with silk thread and hung them on his wrist again. After that day, his vital signs improved a lot. Leo seemed to have lost his patience. He dragged me into his arms and roughly pressed his index finger against my lips. Are you so sad because of a broken bead? My response was a slap in the face. Get out. He could mistreat the present me, but he couldn't desecrate the Leo from back then. Leo completely lost his patience and pushed me away, leaving angrily. I fell to the ground. The scratches on my palms were nothing compared to the pain in my heart. Why did you even have to destroy the memories? Why didn't you leave me any memories? After that day, I blocked Leo and left City S to film in Lingshan. Scarlett also followed me to the crew and snatched my role. The scenes that I had filmed for 10 days were all replaced with Scarlett's face in the post-production. At the moment when the earthquake happened, I was filming the scenes that originally belonged to Scarlett. My mind was extremely chaotic, as if I saw the moment when Lingshan collapsed. When Leo learned that I was still at the filming site, he was stunned for a moment and then covered his head and fell to the ground. Scarlett tried to help him up. Leo shook off Scarlett's hand and rushed towards the ruins like a madman. He called my name over and over again. Arya. Arya. Scarlett staggered towards Leo and tried to persuade him to leave. There was a possibility of another earthquake everywhere. Leo turned a deaf ear. He bent his noble head, knelt on the ruins, and dug through the stones with his hands. He had always been fond of cleanliness, but his custom-made suit was now covered with dust. He didn't care at all and was only focused on digging through the ruins. His 10 fingers were bleeding, and the blood dripped onto the stones. Even though I had decided not to love him anymore, I still couldn't bear to see him like this. In my memory, Leo was always noble and decent. He had never been so embarrassed / in such a mess / in such a wretched state. Beneath the unbearable feeling was a hint of relief in my chest. He didn't love me anymore. Why did he want to save me? Since he couldn't hear me before, why didn't he stick to it? When the rescue team arrived, the assistant advised Leo to take a rest. He still refused to leave. His suit was covered with blood stains, and his eyes were bloodshot. Arya. I remembered. I love you. I've loved you for 16 whole years. I'm such a bastard. I sneered. What a pity. He remembered, but I didn't love him anymore. It was so cliched and ridiculous. He could only remember after I had exhausted all my expectations and love for him. I didn't want to play this tragic and affectionate drama with him anymore. The assistant looked away and also started digging through the ruins with Leo. After 72 hours, the rescue team finally rescued me. Arya. When Leo saw me, big teardrops fell from the corners of his eyes. It was the first time I saw Leo cry and I was stunned. He stood up and wanted to touch me. But when he touched me, he fell down and passed out. His body, which had been seriously injured in the car accident, had already reached its limit. I was rescued for 2 days, and Leo never left the rescue room. Scarlett advised him to take a rest, but Leo ignored her. At midnight, the assistant rushed over to bring the Buddhist beads. Leo put on the beads piously and murmured to them, Arya, it should be me who dies. You mustn't be in trouble. At 3 o'clock in the morning, I was issued a critical illness notice by Lingshan Hospital. God is fair. Let Leo taste the torment that I had suffered back then. At that time, I squatted alone outside the ward for 3 days and I didn't change my blood-stained white dress. I prayed to the gods and Buddhas, hoping that he would be okay. As long as he was safe, I was willing to sacrifice 20 years of my life. I was willing to exchange my life for his. The door of the rescue room opened and closed, and hope was dashed again and again. Finally, the expert we invited saved Leo's life. When Leo was out of danger and transferred to the general ward, I fell to the ground. The gods and Buddhas had heard my prayer. He could live. During the 3 months in the general ward, I talked to him every day. When he woke up, he forgot about me. I still can't forget the cold look in his eyes when he saw me after waking up. Who are you? I wiped away the tears from the corners of my eyes. It didn't matter if he forgot me. As long as he was okay. Leo held the critical illness notice in his hand, and his arm was trembling. He couldn't hold it in anymore and covered his face with his hands, sobbing. The tears flowed through his fingers, fell into the wedding ring, and disappeared under the Buddhist beads. After he broke down, he had me rushed to City S for treatment urgently. 5 days later, I was out of danger. On the day when I was transferred to the general ward, Scarlett came to visit Leo with a food box. Leo, here's the nourishing soup I made for you. Leo ignored her and carefully wiped my fingertips with a towel. This is the soup I've stewed for 3 hours. Scarlett was angry. Did I ask you to do it? Leo didn't even look at Scarlett properly. Scarlett was so angry that she left. Wait, Leo called her, but crushed Scarlett's expectations. Take your things away. I had been in a coma for 3 months. On the day I woke up, Leo was having a business meeting. When he learned that I had woken up, he hurriedly left his business partner behind and forgot about the billion-dollar project. Before arriving at the door of the ward, he deliberately tidied up his appearance. Arya. Leo had a smile on his lips, and his eyes were full of love and hidden guilt. The next second, his smile froze on his face. Who are you? I looked confused. Leo regained his composure from the shock and approached me. He asked expectantly, Arya, don't you remember me? I'm Leo, your husband. Husband? I hesitated for a moment and then sneered, how could I have married you? Leo stood there in a daze, his wrists trembling slightly. After the doctor's examination, He was told that I had lost my memory due to a blow to the head. Lost my memory? Leo stared at me blankly, a bitter look on his lips. Then he pressed the Buddhist beads on his wrist and said in a low voice, "It's good to forget those bad pasts." Leo had been staying by my side since I woke up. He even waited outside the toilet when I went in. "You're so annoying," I said rather impatiently. "Don't you have your own things to do? Do you have to follow me around? How could I have liked you before? You must have tricked me into marriage." The fruit knife that Leo was holding cut his finger, and drops of blood fell on the apple and then onto the floor. "How disgusting," I said, turning my eyes away in disgust. Leo put away the fruit knife and wiped the blood on the floor with a handkerchief. Hearing the sound of the door closing, I opened my eyes. Leo didn't show up that night. The next morning, he appeared in the ward with the fragrance of dew on him. He had begged for a string of Buddhist beads and carefully presented them to me. I took the Buddhist beads and under his expectant gaze threw them into the trash can. "Are you crazy? Giving me such ugly beads?" I mercilessly crushed his expectations. Those who treat others badly will eventually be treated badly themselves. Leo's lips trembled slightly and his knees trembled too. "Madam, how could you do this?" Leo's assistant spoke up for him. "President Leo knelt in the Buddhist hall all night to beg for these Buddhist beads especially for you. Just because he gave them to me, does it mean I must accept them?" I curled my lips into a slight smile. "Since he gave them to me, it's my freedom to throw them away." The assistant wanted to argue further but Leo interrupted him and asked him to leave. "Arya, do you really not remember?" There was pain in Leo's eyes. He took off the Buddhist beads on his wrist. "You begged for these for me when you were 18. I have no other intentions but to wish you safety. If I don't remember, then I don't remember. Why do you always ask such questions?" I looked at him coldly. "Maybe I loved you in the past, but I don't remember now. Presumably, at the moment when I forgot, you were no longer an important person to me." Leo staggered. He held on to the edge of the hospital bed and just managed to steady himself. He murmured that this was what it felt like to have one's heart pierced by thousands of arrows. I just felt a sense of satisfaction. "Leo, is this all you can bear? I was humiliated by you for 3 years. On the day I was discharged from the hospital, the media were waiting in the hospital garage. Through the crowd, I saw Scarlett. The media's flashlights were pointed at me and then that dazzling light was blocked." Leo stood in front of me. "Scarlett didn't look too good. Arya, you were hospitalized this time because during the earthquake, your husband didn't save you but chose to save Scarlett. There are rumors online that there's trouble in your marriage." Before I could say anything, Leo blocked the media's questions. "There's no trouble in our marriage. The internet is not a place beyond the law. Those who spread false information online will be held accountable." "Leo, it's a fact that you saved Scarlett?" the reporter questioned. At that time, I didn't know that my wife was also there. I just chose to save a life. If I had known there would be so much trouble later, I wouldn't have saved her. Leo spoke righteously. "This is the last time I'll explain. I don't want anyone to bother my wife with this matter anymore, otherwise, they'll be making an enemy of the Leo family." Back at the Leo family's residence, I stopped Leo. "So, it's true that you ignored my life and death? You've been lying to me all along." Leo didn't look very natural. He wanted to put his arm around my shoulders. I pushed him away. "You're a liar. I won't be with a liar. Arya, believe me. I really didn't know you were there too." Leo begged pitifully, "Please don't divorce me. We've come this far together. You make me sick." I took down the wedding photo in the living room and smashed it to pieces. "Don't." Seeing that I picked up a fruit knife to cut the photo, Leo blocked it with both hands. Blood covered my white wedding dress in the photo. "Let go," I said, feeling no emotion in my heart. Leo didn't loosen his grip at all, nor did he dare to use force for fear of hurting me. I looked up at him. The corners of his eyes were red and slightly moist as if he was about to cry in the next second. I didn't soften my heart and stabbed hard. Blood splattered on the wedding photo, dyeing the white wedding dress red. Leo's hands were covered in blood but he still refused to let go. It seemed that he wanted to ruin his hands. Well then I'd help him with that. "Leo." Scarlett appeared unexpectedly and screamed. She pushed me away, caught off guard. I fell backwards towards the broken glass. Leo quickly let go of his hands to protect me and the glass shards stabbed into his back. Arya, are you okay? Leo grunted and asked about my condition. I met Scarlett's shocked gaze and my lips were cold. Your new love has shown up, yet you keep saying you love me. How disgusting. Arya, let me explain. I didn't give him a chance and quickly got up to slash the wedding photo to pieces. Arya. Leo couldn't stop me in time and could only watch helplessly as the wedding photo was reduced to fragments. No. Leo used his bloodied hands to search for the pieces from the debris. He wanted to piece it together one by one. But it was all in vain. After all, I had cut it quite neatly. How ridiculous. This wedding photo was photoshopped later. 3 years ago. He couldn't even bear to look at me for a second, fearing that it would stain his eyes. If he stayed with me for more than 3 minutes, his temper would become extremely bad. On the day we took the wedding photos, I waited for him for 5 hours but he didn't show up. Leo knelt on the ground looking dazed and at a loss. Leo, it doesn't matter if the photo is gone. Your health is the most important thing, Scarlett said, her eyes full of concern. You need to get your wounds bandaged quickly. Leo didn't look at Scarlett. He stared straight at me, the pain and despair in his eyes were almost overflowing. What I said next shattered his despair completely. I can't stand you anymore. Let's get divorced. Arya. Leo anxiously blocked my way. Stay away from me. I think you're dirty, I said resolutely and left. Dirty? Leo murmured to himself and fell to the ground the next moment. Scarlett exclaimed, Leo, and called for an ambulance. I didn't look back, not even once. The next afternoon, Leo had his hands wrapped in bandages and pleaded with bloodshot eyes, Arya, I beg you not to divorce me. I really don't know why I lost my memory. There was a scar on his cheek cut by the shards, adding a sense of brokenness to his appearance. Unfortunately, I wouldn't pity him anymore. I ignored Leo and directly signed the divorce agreement. Leo clenched his fists and blood seeped through the bandages. He didn't agree in the end and the Civil Affairs Bureau didn't accept it either. The staff tried to persuade me, saying that Leo really loved me, but I didn't love him anymore. Leo and I were at a stalemate for over half a month, and then I got a new role in a drama. The male lead of that drama was a junior who had confessed his love to me in college. On the first day of filming, he smiled and asked me, Senior, do you still remember me? I'm the cheeky junior that you rejected 99 times. Chase? I wasn't quite sure. He took off his sunglasses, revealing his bright eyes. Although Chase didn't seem very reliable, he was quite good at acting. There were even a few scenes that made me really get into the role. On the 3rd day of our filming, Scarlett suddenly showed up on the set. This time, she didn't snatch my role because my character was the crazy female second lead. Scarlett looked down on supporting roles and only wanted to play the lead. In 3 years, she had played the female lead in 20 dramas by filming multiple roles at the same time. This time when the real female lead was replaced, she cried until her eyes were red. She had been an extra for 7 years and finally got a chance to play the lead but was cut out by the investors. Watching her trembling shoulders, I handed her a pack of tissues. She thanked me and left with her luggage that afternoon. Because of Scarlett's lack of cooperation, the crew was still filming at 7 o'clock in the evening. All of my scenes were scheduled for the night. It was a scene in a bamboo forest. I had just gotten into the role while sitting on a stool when suddenly I felt a pain in my calf. Ah! A cobra! The cameraman was terrified. I felt the snake winding tighter and tighter around my calf and crawling up my body along the clothes. I was most afraid of soft-bodied animals and didn't dare to move at all. When I thought I was going to be strangled to death, Senior. Chase rushed over and drove the cobra away with a stick. I was poisoned and my consciousness became a bit blurred. In a daze, I saw Leo coming. He was furious. There was no reason for a cobra to appear on the set. Without guessing, I knew who was behind it. The only person who wanted me dead. Since Leo's car accident, I felt that I had been having a run of bad luck. I was on the verge of death every day. Suddenly falling street lamps, drunk drivers, and earthquakes without warning. There hadn't been an earthquake on Lingshan Mountain for 50 years, but there was one when we were filming. Fortunately, this time I narrowly escaped death again. Arya. I opened my eyes and met Leo's worried gaze. There were surprisingly many bloodshot eyes in his eyes. Coincidentally, the surveillance on the set that day was broken. I rested for a few days and then went back to filming. Leo visited the set every day. One day when Leo wasn't there, I was filming an underwater scene when the oxygen mask suddenly lost oxygen. I pressed the emergency call button, but there was no response. I sank to the bottom of the 10-meter deep pool, and the crew didn't notice anything wrong. Chase saved me again. Due to the lack of oxygen, my face was pale and bluish. Chase said softly, "Excuse me," and was about to give me artificial respiration. Just as he lowered his head, "Let her go." Leo, who was not far away, rushed over quickly, looking gloomy all over. I made a gesture to reject Leo, and he brought an oxygen mask for me to breathe through. Through the crowd, I noticed that Scarlett's face was bluish-purple and she had more blemishes on her skin. Were these the aftereffects of staying up late filming? Because of Leo's pressure, everyone had to finish their tasks on the same day. Scarlett kept making mistakes and had to stay up late to reshoot. Leo advised me not to take this role, but I didn't agree. He frowned but still couldn't persuade me. The more I interacted with Chase, the more I realized that he knew all my likes. He knew all the books I liked and the predecessors I admired. I spent my 26th birthday on the set. Chase brought a bouquet of flowers. His eyes were surprisingly bright, even brighter than the stars. "Senior, happy birthday." Chase's ears turned red quietly. Suddenly, several drones appeared above our heads, forming a heart shape. A helicopter quickly landed, and Leo got out of it. When he saw the roses in Chase's hands, the smile froze on his face. "Happy birthday, Arya." Leo took a deep breath and slowly walked towards me. "This is the 17th birthday that I've accompanied Arya on. I pursed my lips and didn't respond. "Senior, I like you." Chase summoned up his courage and said it out loud. "Arya has a husband, and she doesn't like younger guys. She likes mature men." Leo gave Chase a casual glance. "I like those who are obedient and have a good figure. I just happen to want to try a relationship with an older woman." Chase excitedly handed me a rose. "Arya." Leo grasped my wrist, speaking word by word. "If you don't agree to the divorce, can't I pursue my own happiness?" My words left him speechless. The drone scattered rose petals, which fell on the heads of Leo and me. Suddenly, several candles were lit up behind him, looking very beautiful from a distance. "President Leo, can we start?" A voice came through his earpiece. "Arya, does it have to come to this between us?" The corners of Leo's eyes were reddish, and under the illumination of the candles, he had an indescribable sense of brokenness. "If we don't love each other anymore, shouldn't we separate?" I asked him in return. When I got into the RV and left, I saw brilliant fireworks lighting up the filming site. Those fireworks formed the shapes of Leo and me. I remembered when I was 18 years old, I told Leo, "If you propose to me in the future, set off fireworks in the shapes of the two of us. If I'm angry, you can also set off such fireworks, and then I won't be angry anymore." That year, we were too young to foresee so many changes in the future. I never expected that my young love would finally trample my whole heart until it was covered with scars. Chase sent me a message inviting me to watch a movie. It was my favorite movie, but I refused. After that scene was finished filming, I invited Chase to dinner to thank him for saving me twice. I put my phone on silent mode. After it was over, I found that Leo had bombarded me with over 99 messages. In the evening, when I returned to my apartment and hadn't had time to turn on the light, I heard Leo's gloomy voice. "You're back?" He was hidden in the darkness, and his voice was as cold as snow. I turned on the light. The ashtray was full of cigarette butts, and there was a stack of photos of Chase and me on the coffee table. The photo he was holding in his hand looked like Chase was kissing me. "You broke into my house illegally and even had someone follow me? Arya, is it because I've been too nice to you that you think you can do whatever you want?" Leo stood up and walked towards me step by step. "Who I want to be with is my freedom. If you don't like it, we can just get divorced." My words instantly deflated Leo. All his anger dissipated in an instant. Cough, cough, cough. The smell of cigarettes on him was too strong, and I couldn't help coughing. "Sorry." Leo didn't forget that I had tracheitis. He opened the window to let the smell of cigarettes out of the room. I said I wouldn't like you because you have such a bad temper. After hearing that, Leo's body stiffened. When the movie we filmed before was about to be officially announced and we were doing promotional activities in the building, when I was signing autographs for fans, a fan took out a bottle of concentrated sulfuric acid from her bag and was about to splash it on me. Leo showed up in time, and the concentrated sulfuric acid was splashed hard on his back. Arya, are you okay? Sweat oozed from Leo's forehead, dripping down his cheeks. He asked me anxiously. Senior, are you okay? Chase also rushed over at this time, his face full of worry. I broke free from Leo's embrace and shook my head at Chase to indicate that I was okay. Leo. Scarlett cried and tried to help Leo up, but Leo shook off her hand. The moment the ambulance arrived, Leo looked at me expectantly. I ignored the longing in his eyes and said to Chase, let's continue with the promotional activities in the building. Senior, aren't you going to accompany him? Chase couldn't bear it. I didn't ask him to save me. I didn't look back. Naturally, I also missed the process of the hope in Leo's eyes slowly fading away. Arya. When I walked to the corner, Leo still called out to me. Could you accompany me? No, I have to work. I used the excuse that Leo had used to put me off before to fob him off. Later, I went to the hospital once. Leo was lying on his side on the hospital bed, and his back looked horribly scarred. Scarlett was trying to ingratiate herself beside him, but he never paid attention to her, just staring blankly at the trumpet creepers outside the window. Arya is so heartless. You got hurt trying to save her, but she never even looked at you. Hearing my name, Leo gave Scarlett a bit of his attention. It's none of your business. In late autumn, Leo was discharged from the hospital. He called me and told me that he agreed to the divorce, but I had to go to his company. I went to his office and watched him pick up a pen. Arya, it seems you really want a divorce. Leo mocked himself. Just as his pen was about to touch the signature area, the office suddenly lost power. Arya, don't be afraid. Leo comforted me and turned on the flashlight on his phone. I'm not afraid of the dark. I told him. After being locked in the dark for 10 hours, you won't be afraid anymore. The corners of Leo's lips trembled, and then he advised me, Arya, there's a lounge in the office. You can make do with it for a while. Sign the papers first. I refused to give in. In the end, Leo signed the papers. After he signed them, I picked up the agreement and was about to leave. We're on the 88th floor. Leo stopped me from leaving. I don't want to stay with you. I was merciless, even though he had saved me not long ago. Even though his back was still horribly scarred until now. He deserved it. When I walked to the stairwell, Leo squatted down in front of me. This action was what he did when we climbed the mountain before. I couldn't walk anymore but still wanted to watch the sunrise, so he carried me on his back all the way to the top of the mountain. He walked for a full 2 hours and never put me down. I clenched my fists and ignored him. In the end, Leo carried me down the stairs. The moment my face touched his shoulder, he regained his memory, but I wasn't moved at all. Leo, I've really let go. When we reached the 50th floor, Leo began to pant heavily, and sweat seeped from his back and wet his shirt. On the 30th floor, I smelled a faint smell of blood, and his shirt was stained with a light red. It seemed that his injury was really serious and hadn't healed in half a month. I'll walk by myself. Then, I pursed my lips and made a call to my agent. Even though there was no love left, Leo was the one who had given me warmth and pulled me out of the abyss. Without him, I might have died of a high fever when I was 8 years old. Everything he had done canceled it all out. From now on, we had nothing to do with each other. I won't let you go again. He promised me. When we reached the first floor, he looked as if he had just been fished out of the water. When he put me down, his body swayed slightly. My agent told me that there was a movie and they wanted me to be the female lead. The investor was Leo's college classmate. I won't take it. Pretending to have amnesia was just to torture him. I yawned and then I heard Leo's trembling voice, You didn't lose your memory? I looked up. The corners of his lips were trembling, and he was sweating all over. looking indescribably wretched. Do you hate me so much that you're willing to deceive me? I took a deep breath. Yes, I hate you. I wished you were dead. But now, I don't hate you anymore. I never lost my memory. I wanted you to experience what I felt. But I found it boring. Life is so short. Why must we hold a grudge against someone? Leo's face turned even paler, and his body swayed slightly. There's no hatred left either. I won't forget your kindness. And I remember your bad deeds even more clearly. Leo finally agreed to the divorce. On the day of the divorce, he wore a white shirt, looking exactly like the young man who was going to marry me when he was 18. But I knew that the young man I loved had long died in a car accident. The person who woke up, the person who regained his memory, was no longer the same person as before. Scarlett had more and more negative news recently. Many posts exposed that she wasn't natural, but had plastic surgery later. A classmate who claimed to be Scarlett's posted a graduation photo. She was fat, ugly, and dark-skinned, completely different from her glamorous appearance now. Those actresses who had been pushed out of the leading roles all exposed that Scarlett had risen to prominence with the help of capital. Leo was Scarlett's capital before. And Leo was my husband. This scandal affected me too. I took out my divorce certificate and got out of this mess. I became an object of pity among netizens and gained a lot of fans all at once. Scarlett never responded. Scarlett's assistant posted an article saying that Scarlett's face was completely ruined and her figure had gone out of shape. It also said that Scarlett wasn't a kind-hearted fairy at all and often took her anger out on others. Scarlett didn't prove herself and she was being criticized by the whole internet. One day, when I woke up, I found myself tied up on the rooftop. The woman in front of me was overweight and wearing a mask. Arya, you deserve to die. Why did you steal my life? This is the script I customized. You're just a cannon fodder who was supposed to die early. Leo should have liked me. Scarlett? I was confused. What script? Had she gone crazy? Ha ha ha, why am I talking to you, a cannon fodder? Scarlett pushed me to the edge of the railing on the rooftop. On the day of the earthquake, he didn't save you because I used the blocking on him. He couldn't see you or hear you. But why didn't you die? Damn Leo, if I can't kill him, then I'll kill you. As long as you die, I can go home. When I get home, I'll burn this script of yours and let you all die. Scarlett became more and more crazy. He likes you so much. What will he do if you die in front of him? I saw Leo under the rooftop. When he saw me, he almost couldn't stand steadily. I don't want to play this game anymore. I'm going home. Scarlett pushed me off the rooftop. I only felt a white blur in front of my eyes, and halos were shining. I saw a curtain on which my whole life was written. Arya died in a car accident at the age of 20-2. It turned out that I was supposed to have died long ago. I didn't become an actress and couldn't stand on the stage to fulfill my dream. In that version of life, I wasn't even treated well. I didn't have the opportunity to learn music or acting. I had been staying in the welfare home until I was thrown into society to struggle after becoming an adult. In that script setting, the person who hit me with a car was Leo. He knew I was dead and just frowned, thinking it was troublesome, because he had to go back to celebrate Scarlett's birthday. Yes, in that version, Scarlett was the one he adopted. Was this supposed to be my life? I saw myself on the curtain, just like a puppet on strings. I didn't know where to go, nor did I have a way back. I froze in place. I don't know how long it had been, but I seemed to hear someone calling me. One after another, very anxiously, the words on the curtain cracked, and a new plot emerged. I was adopted by Leo, and he fell in love with me. I heard a conversation between two people. What? Leo is my male lead. How could he fall in love with someone else? It's not even okay if he develops his own subjective consciousness. Kill her off. Car accident, cancer, accident. When I show up then, Leo will surely worship me like a goddess. What's the matter with you? Why doesn't Leo like me? He's just hugging a photo all day long. Rewrite the plot. What? It can't be changed? Then make me appear a few years earlier. At the end of that scene, I saw Leo holding my blood-stained body, unable to hold back his sobs. Why couldn't I save you? Leo washed my body clean, put a wedding dress on me, and held a wedding ceremony in the bedroom. Arya, please wake up, okay? Leo held me tightly and took out a fruit knife and pressed it against his chest. Then let's die together. The blood stained the wedding dress red, and Leo closed his eyes contentedly. Arya, wait for me. I never thought that I would wake up. When I opened my eyes and saw Leo, he had aged a lot, with a lot of white hair at his temples. He told me that he was going to travel and would send me postcards every year. He asked me not to miss him. I looked away. I wouldn't miss him at all. Leo took a few pills every few minutes. He said they were vitamins. Scarlett was arrested by the police for the crime of intentional injury. Chase confessed his love to me again. I remembered those conversations and curled my lips into a smile at Chase. Aren't you tired? Senior, I don't understand, Chase said with a confused look on his face. Your well-known preferences, the accidents you knew in advance. I met Chase's gaze. You always say you love me, but you do very little in action. Leo has done so much, but he never told me a word about it. When did you find out? Chase stopped smiling. During the Cobra incident. Chase told me that he was the author of this script. Scarlett spent $10 million to customize a script about the cultivation of a domineering CEO. Unexpectedly, Leo developed his own subjective consciousness and fell in love with me. He designed 4 accidental deaths for me: car accident, earthquake, poisonous snake bite, and drowning, but every time, Leo committed suicide to follow me in death. Finally, he stepped into the plot, trying to make me change my heart and correct Leo's main plot line. Your fate was supposed to be death, but someone changed the ending for you. I pursed my lips. Even if he hadn't told me, I had guessed it already. He came back 4 times, and lost you 4 times. This time, he chose to leave himself. Leo finally invited me to watch a sunrise with him. Arya, I won't come back to the country anymore. The sunlight shone on his graying hair, and I had an indescribable feeling in my heart. Bitterness, helplessness, and resentment all turned into relief in the end. Before leaving, Leo asked me in the sunlight if I could give him a hug. He opened his arms, just like the moment when he adopted me from the welfare home 18 years ago. I didn't turn around. Leo left, disappearing without a trace. On the day when I received 51% of the shares of Leo's family group, he didn't show up either. When we first met, the crowded reporters were interviewing Leo about his feelings after receiving the funding. A sharp-eyed reporter noticed me who was almost pushed against the because I sold the original house and changed my address. He never knew about it. He died when I won the Best Actress trophy. He jumped into the sea. I know that Leo crossed the barriers of the years, only hoping to save me. I know that Leo gave everything, only longing for me to be safe and happy. I didn't die in my fate. I still have a lot of love. But this love no longer belongs to Leo. Memory loss was an excuse, and being manipulated was also an excuse.